The root of all excellence.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the root of all excellence.
Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. So, looks like I'm gonna have to stop cussing so much.
Yeah.
I really got to tone it down a bit. I'm trying my best. I swear I am. But I was thinking, my mom may listen to this one day, right? And also, I think your mom will listen to it.
Maybe.
So I got to tone it down. I know. Couple, maybe 10 years ago, maybe about 10 years ago, my mom was like, I curse too much on Facebook. And I was like, wow, because, I post maybe once a year, right? And
back then you did too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so the fact that she, kind of felt like I curse too much, I just kind of pull it back even more from,
right.
so.
Posting.
Right. So, I'm going to try my best to kind of tone it down.
You in practice?
I'm going to try, you know what I mean? Because I don't want her to be like, I would listen to the podcast, but, you be cursing too much.
Uh-huh.
So,
my dad used to always say stuff like that. Like, I don't know why you listen to this music. Like, why you want to listen to somebody cursing you out?
Right.
And I'm like, they're not talking to me. What do you mean? Like,
so, but some of the topics that we have is just, I forget. I get in my bag and I'm just talking, and next thing you know, I done said 73 cuss words. So I'm gonna try my best to practice to not curse so much, because like I said, your mom, my mom, I'm pretty sure we have other family members that listen to this, and I kind of want to be seen in the best light as possible. So hey, bear with me, man. I'm gonna try.
yeah, sometimes you just got to be yourself.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna just try to, and I think I should, maybe try this in regular life. So.
But I feel like you do.
I try my best, man. It's just that
in certain situations.
Yeah, it definitely, in the presence of certain people, I don't want to be using such foul language. But sometimes a motherfucker kind of puts more emphasis on whatever it is I'm talking about. Sometimes you just gotta give it that, you know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
So I'm gonna ask y'all to bear with me as I try to improve some of my language. All right.
See how it goes.
We'll see how it goes, man.
Yeah. So let's get into it.
Let's go.
Now I know we did the Jeffrey Dahmer not too long ago podcast.
Right.
The Dahmer review.
The Dahmer review.
But there's actually a recent serial killer that just got caught. So somebody escaped after being kidnapped from Prospect and tortured in the basement for over a month.
Right.
So this guy, where is this? Missouri.
Mm-hmm. I think it's Kansas City.
Excelsior Springs.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that that's got to be kind of close to Kansas City? So how I heard about the story was, kind of flipping through social media, and it came about because some of the people from the community had been saying yo, it has to be a serial killer out here. It's a serial killer out here. They have 3-4 girls and just come up missing from the same area. It got to the point where some of the community some of the people in the community was going out there kind of patrolling and things like that. They reached out to local law enforcement, and was pretty much dismissed, right? Like we did a research and there was no findings of anything like this kind of thing.
Right.
And so apparently then next thing you know, you have this lady kind of escape.
Mm-hmm. She was 22-year-old black woman, escaped bondage after being kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and held captive in the basement. And that was just this month that she was found.
Right.
On the 7th.
And I want to say for like months they were saying that it was a serial killer out here and they couldn't really get the help that they need.
Right.
So definitely I think during the Dama episode that we did, I mentioned that what if Dama was cleaner, right? He was, because he was very sloppy with how he did everything.
Right.
So what if he wasn't that sloppy? What if he was more tidy? You know what I mean? He could have possibly got away with this even longer.
Yeah.
Right? But he type motherfucker had pictures in the drawer.
Right.
Damn, I cuss. All right. So.
Or bodies in the refrigerator.
Yeah, and like, decomposing bodies in the room.
Right.
Right?
Head in the refrigerator.
To the point where like neighbors are complaining about the smell.
Right.
You could taste it throughout the apartment building.
I don't know.
I maybe that was a little too much, but you know what I mean. So, he definitely could have got away with this had he been more clean with everything that he was doing, right? Mm-hmm. Also, it because of the privilege that he was given, mm-hmm. he was able to prolong like his freedom.
Right, how long he was doing it.
Right. So kind of the same situation here in which the community goes to law enforcement and some of the people that are leaders within the community and goes, yo, we have a serial killer out here.
Right.
Ain't no way all these females keep missing around the same time in the same area. We have to have a serial killer. And it got to the point where they was out there actually, patrolling. Like people in the community was patrolling.
No, because nobody was doing anything.
Right, nobody was doing anything. Mm. And then a young lady escaped, and she was saying, and I believe like within the article it says that like she explained that some of the girls didn't make it out. Some of the girls were killed, right?
Right.
Tortured and raped. She was tortured and raped down there.
In the basement.
Right? So I'm trying to figure out, I don't want to hit the button, but you gotta hit the button, man.
My conspiracy is tingling.
So, like, I'm trying to figure out what it is about black people within the black community that the police just don't believe. Right? Plenty of black people within that apartment building that Jeffrey Dahmer lived in mm-hmm. tried reaching out to law enforcement to let them know something is going on.
Right.
The same thing happened here. Now, mind you, the Jeffrey Dahmer situation, late 80s, early 90s. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
We are in 2022.
Right.
And the same thing happens. Right?
Right.
Now, we don't know how many people that, the serial killer actually killed.
Right.
Right? We know that, based on the young lady experience, it was more girls down there and he killed a couple of them, right?
Right.
He could have been doing this for years.
Potentially
for years, right? I'm trying to figure out what it is about the black community when we go to law enforcement and say, listen, it's a serial killer. Something is going on. why isn't it a thorough investigation done about it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can understand in this case, it's hard to really do an investigation because, like, you don't know the person that's being accused.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But in both cases, meaning Jeffrey Dahmer in this one,
Mm-hmm.
somebody had to escape
Right.
in order for
Anything to happen.
right.
And for them actually like to look into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Mind you, in both cases, people tried reaching out to law enforcement. They tried getting help from law enforcement. And then people want to know why in the black community there is a mistrust of law enforcement when it comes to black people.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And this is just a simple case. And let me just say this too. When it comes to black women, I feel like there's not enough care. You know,
If they go missing.
right.
Right. Right.
If they go missing, the fact that the community actually was standing up, like, yo, we've been missing 4 different, females in this same area, was remarkable. So shout out to them,
Right.
For making sure they go that far.
Right.
Right. But even though they went that far, nothing was done. The police even came out. Like, if you go to the, I think it's a Kansas City PD, they put out like a
Video.
not a video, but like a post on like a website to say like, yo, we've been hearing about, this serial killer stuff that they talking about, but we did an investigation and there was no findings of a serial killer.
Right.
Right.
These are rumors.
Right. Pretty much.
Right.
So for this to come out after they put that out,
Right.
you look silly as hell out here.
Very much so.
You look silly, man.
Right.
It look like y'all not doing your job or y'all not interested.
Probably
right?
both. Both?
Probably both.
Yeah.
I'm not interested, so I'm not doing that kind of thing. So it was just strange that something like this would happen like right after kind of the Dahmer series.
Right.
That was like mimicking, kind of almost mirroring the same kind of like things.
Right.
So how did you feel about it?
I don't know. I think it's, I get in this situation where, okay, you're saying that there's a serial killer. So how do you find the serial killer, right? I feel like in a lot of the situations, it was difficult to find the serial killer. Just based on like different investigations, looking at different things, right?
Right.
So I think in this situation, it's a little bit different than Dahmer because he was in a home, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't really like in a shared multi-family apartment complex to where there's smells and all this stuff going on,
right.
pointing the finger at what was going on with him.
Right.
But I do feel like in both situations, like given the times, the population really wasn't a population that police are typically concerned with.
Okay.
So like with Dahmer, it was the gay black guys.
Right.
And then with this, it's the black females.
Right.
Like I feel like a lot of times when it's black females, gay black guys, a lot of time prostitutes.
Yeah.
They're targeted a lot in serial killers. Like it just doesn't
right because
the attention.
I guess they could be looked at as like the undesirables.
Yeah, or just like maybe they just decided to go away.
Right.
Like maybe they're out using drugs. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like just the negative thought process when it comes to just everyday people.
Right.
I feel like it's different when like young white girls go missing.
Oh man.
Like we see that on national news,
Right.
right?
Nancy Grace or some shit.
Everything,
Yeah.
all of the news outlets. So, I mean, it's disappointing, but I can't say that it surprises me
Right.
because it's common in how the whole process operates.
I agree. Kind of in my opinion, I think that women, but specifically black women, is one of the most neglected people in this country.
Right.
Right. Just while it's on my mind, it was a young lady who came out here to go hiking with a cop. She ended up dead, and that was just it.
Nothing else to be done.
Nothing else. She just disappeared.
Right.
Ended up, mind you, she was with somebody.
Right.
Right? Now, usually, just saying usually, the last person that sees them usually is the first suspect.
Should be.
Right?
Right.
But this cop was never charged, never investigated, none of that, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, he said like she was like having an issue during the hike.
right,
like overheating, heat stroke, something like that.
right,
And he just left her.
right. And that doesn't sound right. Like I'm sorry,
It
but
doesn't.
stuff like that doesn't sound right. And when it comes to black females, I just think that they're amongst the undesirables in this country. Right? So whatever you deem, whatever they deem exposable, I think that the black women fits right into that category, right?
Right.
And it's not enough being done about some of the things that happen to black women within this country. And to be honest, like, I don't know, I just feel like it makes black men look weak. Right?
Right.
Which in most cases I understand that we can't be, we're not in this country top tier. Right? But anytime that, a serial killer is found because a woman escaped after being tortured for possibly months.
Like since September.
Right.
She went missing in September.
Right. And she just got found, like this month?
Yeah, on the 7th.
So, for months. Well, at least a month.
A month or so. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anytime that can happen, like right in our community, right up under our noses, it makes us look weak. Right? Let me just say this to the black men as a black man. We have to do a better job protecting our women. Right? I understand within the black community, we kind of have our own issues. Right? But we have to do a better job to protect black women, our women, right? Now, supposedly, this guy had kidnapped maybe 4 women in the course of like months. This is how they noticed it, right?
Right. I want to say it was like 4 from the same area.
4 from the same area.
Yeah.
So, mind you, killed a couple of them.
Yeah. She said, I want to say 3 of her friends.
Right.
Her friends did not make it out.
Right.
So
the fact that he feel like he could do that is crazy. Right?
Right.
Now, of course, it's going to be serial killers. There's going to be people, sick people anywhere you go.
Right.
But I feel like people who do things like this target a certain type of people.
They do.
And it's because it makes it easier.
Right.
Now, I'm trying to figure out, and excuse my language, but what the fuck is it about black men that makes a white dude feel like I could just kidnap all black women because they ain't going to do a motherfucking thing? They ain't going to do nothing.
Right.
You're not even scared.
Right.
There's something that's going to come about, not even from the police perspective, but just from the community. Right?
Right.
We got to quit allowing stuff like this to happen right under our noses and nothing be done about it. Right? I just feel like in this country, again, black women has been among the most that has been neglected. And we have to do more to make sure that, we kind of protect our women. And we kind of touched on protecting our kids in the last episode. And I kind of want to just touch on, like, we got to do more to protect black women as black men. That should never happen.
But I feel like the community response in this situation is different than what it typically is, right?
Definitely. I agree.
So I feel like they notice that there's an issue. There's missing people. The police aren't doing anything. So
Right.
we got to do something. And I feel like that doesn't happen often.
I agree, and kudos to, that community because there was a sense of awareness. And
yeah, there was a bishop that was very vocal.
Okay, yeah.
In it.
So yeah, a shout out to the bishop, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think that we just got to step it up a bit because should nobody be allowed to just come to our community, kidnap, rape, and murder women, and that be that.
Right.
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 They come to the community, they should feel the presence that, hey, if I do that here, I may be the one tied up in the basement.
But I don't feel like, and I guess as a whole, I don't feel like there's that care, right?
Okay.
Because black women are disposable on
to everybody,
variety of levels, right?
Right.
It's
I see
not
what you
just not, you know what I mean?
I get it.
So I don't feel like there's that care for them at all.
Right. And I noticed that. Right. And this is kind of the reason why I wanted to speak on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's because I definitely noticed that, like you said, they're exposable on every level.
Right.
So even to some black men.
Right.
So definitely
and some black women.
Definitely.
Also,
you know what I mean?
Like, at what point? You know what I mean?
Right, right.
At what point is it like this is a person, this is a human being, like
right.
She has feelings.
Right.
She
regardless of your lifestyle, by the way, because I know a lot of times a lot of the serial killers would like target prostitutes, and because she's a prostitute I could just murder her. No, man, like we gotta, you know what I mean?
Right. And then people just think like, oh, well, she just ran off.
Right.
Whatever. It's part of that lifestyle.
Yeah.
But people have habits. People have things that they do. People they check in with. Like,
right. Several patterns.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's just disheartening, like, when stuff like this happens. But
definitely.
I mean, I'm glad she escaped.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad. Yeah, because, I mean, it's possible that 4 more could be missing.
Yeah.
So,
and this regular looking guy.
Regular looking guy.
Yeah.
Really, honestly, when I seen him, I said, okay, you look like you could be a serial killer. We look like we got to watch you.
I don't know. I don't know if I get that vibe from him.
How does he look to you?
He just looks like, I don't know, just a regular guy.
No, man.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't feel like he stands out as like serial killer.
No, but oftentimes serial killers are weird. Now, would you look at him and go, weird?
No.
Okay.
I think I would just look at him like everyday scraggly guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
and this is maybe a bad picture of him.
Maybe I could look up his Facebook or something like that. His name is Timothy Hazlitt Jr.
He better not have no damn Facebook.
Timothy Hazlitt Jr.
That man better not have no Facebook.
I mean, you don't think you're going to get caught? Of course he got a Facebook.
Oh, no.
I would assume that he has a Facebook. But anybody that shares the name, it's kind of...
Yeah. Go ahead and change your profile name, bro.
Yeah. Go ahead and fix that.
So, yeah, I mean, that's just unfortunate. But I would love to see, like, black men kind of stand up more to prevent things like this from happening, right? Or at least have a response to something like this happening.
Right. So next up, things that we should probably try to keep an eye on.
Okay.
So in 5 different states, they are working on taking the slavery language off of like their constitution. So you know how like they abolished slavery,
right?
But they made it legal still for people that are convicted of crimes.
Right.
So people that are convicted of crimes are still able to be slaves.
Right.
So you're getting paid 16 cents an hour.
That's hilarious.
For whatever work that you're doing while you're in prison because it's slavery.
Right.
Right.
And it's amazing how many people that I've talked to that don't really like know that. Like, when you go to prison, in most cases like forced to work.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a form of slavery.
Definitely slavery.
Forced labor on you.
Yeah.
And pay you 16 cents an hour.
Right. Something crazy.
Right. So
so the states that are looking at it are Alabama,
right,
Louisiana, Oregon, Tennessee, and Vermont.
Like, what does that mean? Like, what does that look like when you say take the slavery language out of is it the Constitution?
So slavery and involuntary servitude are forever prohibited. Nothing in this section shall prohibit an inmate from working when the inmate has been duly convicted of a crime. So I guess like they can be forced to work without pay.
Right.
Still, like when you're incarcerated.
Right. So it's still going to be slavery. We're just not going to call it slavery.
Right. So I guess they're trying to work it out to where this is no longer the case. This is no longer the situation where you can be forced to work without pay.
Oh, okay. So that means that so let me just get this straight. So that means that they're not going to be forcing people to work.
Well, I think the whole idea of it is that you get minimum wage.
So they're going to pay you more.
Right, if you're working.
Okay.
So the idea of it is to have them be paid for their work.
Right.
But also not force them to work, right?
Okay. So those who want to work can actually make some money, and those of you who don't want to work will actually make no money.
Right. So like inmates right now, in some cases, that refuse to work or that don't want to work, so they could be denied phone calls and visits from the family, get put on solitary,
right,
denied parole. Like there are consequences for you not wanting to work.
Right.
So the idea of it is to take away like the restrictions that are put on you.
Right, kind of give you more choices.
Right. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, right? I think it's just going to be interesting what this actually looks like for the states.
Right. Also, I'm concerned about how this would look as far as prison.
Right.
Right. So think about this. There's a possibility that, like, if you go into prison and you're working, there's gonna be a lot of pimping going on. It's gonna be somebody who don't work, making sure that somebody works for them, especially if you're getting paid like a decent wage, right?
Right.
It's gonna be somebody working for them, because in prison, things don't cost much because there is not much.
Right.
Right.
You're not making much.
That's what I'm saying. So, if you bump it up to like $7 an hour real quick,
Right.
that's a lot of money for somebody who got 25 years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
When in prison, $100 is a lot of money.
Yeah, so maybe they'll raise the prices in prison.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if you can, like, charge $20 for a honey bun.
I mean, you never know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but
They do it at theme parks.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know though. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, but I think though the whole goal of it is though, so maybe the different states are gonna have different like what this actually means,
right.
but they want to take the language out of it. So like, slavery is prohibited. Period.
Okay. So,
Like,
I mean, that sounds great.
Right. So there's no involuntary servitude, none of that, regardless, like if you're convicted of a crime or not.
Right.
So I think that's like the ultimate goal for all 5 of them.
Okay.
Is
I
to
mean,
look at that.
I mean, to be honest, I think that is amazing. We should, that's amazing. You're not being forced to work. It sounds like they're gonna get probably get more money. If not, I mean, still the fact that you're not forced to work,
Right. You
is
don't have like, negative consequences for not wanting to
right,
work.
right. So,
And I mean,
and they're just looking at it, right? It's not. Are they planning on actually going through with this thing, or is this something that we got to take a look at?
they're on the ballots, so
Yeah, it won't pass.
it's to be voted on in the 5 states.
Yeah, and what are the 5 states? Sound like they're southern states, if I'm not.
Not all of them,
Okay.
but let's see. So you're looking at Alabama,
Right.
Southern, Louisiana,
Southern.
Oregon,
Okay.
Tennessee,
Southern.
and Vermont.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So not all are Southern, but
Right.
yeah. So just looking at the different language. And I mean, we know how it is in the South. So
Right. I don't think they're gonna pass. In some places, but
yeah.
the fact that they're looking at it, man, hey, anything is possible.
Yeah, hopefully they do. And we know like prison is big business.
Big business.
Big business, low labor cost.
Big business.
A lot of money to be made.
Right.
So you got private prisons.
Right.
So it makes you wonder, like, if you have a private prison, like what's the goal of it, right? To make money, profit.
Right. Which means that they have to have people in prison.
Right, but you have people in prison working.
Definitely.
Right.
But you have to have people there.
Right.
So I think it plays into the politics of the criminal justice system.
Yeah. But like with the prison industrial complex, right? So you have all these people working and you're making all this money like as a private prison.
Right.
Then like you would think that you would be losing money, right? Because you got to house them, you got to feed them, you got the bills to pay.
Right.
But when it comes down to it, you're making money
Because you don't pay the prisoners.
per person, right? So I think that'll be interesting to see how that that pans out. And how
Right.
that is affected by it.
Okay. I think personally, if you're a private prison, you just move to another state.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know, because there's so many like private prisons and there's so many like overfilled
Yeah.
prisons.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's why people are like Chicago, different states are looking to like figure out a way to not detain or release people early and stuff like that, because it's just so packed with all this, all the
Yeah.
reasons why people is getting locked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that affects that.
Okay.
Yeah. And so something else to look at. So the Supreme Court is going to be hearing some more cases. I know we talked about Roe v. Wade
Okay.
during the podcast party.
Right. And I think we talked about it doing our podcast as well.
Yeah. So they're going to be reviewing some more cases that we should probably keep an eye on that may be adjusting the rights of some people. All right. So the first thing to be looking out for, they are going to be reviewing affirmative action. So whether or not to keep it as part of the college admission process for future enrollment.
So, so as of right now, there are there is affirmative action within like the college process, right?
Right. And so there's a conservative nonprofit group. So Students for Fair Admissions
Right.
is appealing the race conscious admissions at Harvard and University of North Carolina. And so they're looking to have, I guess they're saying that affirmative action isn't fair,
Right.
is their whole point. So that'll be interesting to see if they overturn that as well.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that because they overturned Roe v. Wade, anything is possible.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could have a profound effect on, people of color.
I think so too. But I feel like, okay, so everybody says like race doesn't matter, right?
Right.
So I think it should just be removed from the admissions question period. So your job applications, your college applications, bank applications, all the applications.
Right.
I think everything should just be removed if they're going to get rid of affirmative action.
Right. Definitely.
So then at that point, you don't know
Who's who?
what the race is.
Right.
I think that'll be important, maybe.
Maybe. I mean,
Should go along with it.
definitely. But I mean, I definitely can see them like overturning this
I can too.
and it having an effect on, black and brown people.
Yeah, but I wonder what the effect will be.
I'm not too sure, but without affirmative action, I think one of the things that's gonna actually be just gonna choose more, non-people of color over people of color.
How they did before affirmative action.
Pretty much.
Okay. So you think it'll go back to the way that it was?
Oh, definitely.
I
The
see.
only thing that's stopping it is this thing we call affirmative action.
I see.
So it's just reverse it.
Back to what it was.
Yeah.
I see. It'll be interesting to see because everybody says like it doesn't matter.
Right. And I think that if it goes back to what it was, we'll see, certain things change within education.
Right.
So, hey.
Yeah. Okay. Another one that is coming up is it's considered a free speech case.
Okay.
So freedom of speech. So a are people able to not provide services to the LGBTQ community based on their religion? So basically, a Colorado-based web designer attorney argued that First Amendment rights were violated after the federal court sided with Colorado law that says she must work with all people regardless of sexual orientation.
Right.
And so her thing is that it's against her religion.
Right.
So they're going to be seen doing a case on this one.
Right.
So after the court previously sided with a baker who objected to making cakes for same-sex weddings, so this is the web designer now wants to take it to court, the
Right.
Supreme Court, and they're going to hear the case on that.
Okay. So I remember, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it was in 2015. If I'm not mistaken. A same-sex couple wanted to get married in a state where they had just legalized same-sex marriage. And the person refused to give them like a marriage license. Right? And so it became like a big deal.
Right.
But and she was saying based on her religion and things like that, I'm just not going to support it, right?
But I don't... Okay.
Go ahead.
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
No, but it does.
But if you are working, right, and you provide marriage certificates,
Right.
what does that have to do with you?
Okay, so, and I felt the same way, by the way, right? I felt
Right.
like, hey man, just do your job, be professional. That has nothing to do with your religion, or it's not disrespecting your religion.
Right.
In America, we have freedom of religion, right? To express,
Your religious belief.
right, your religious beliefs. At majority of the jobs or careers that you have, they have equal employment opportunities. Meaning like they don't discriminate against
People.
or their religion.
They shouldn't, right?
Right. So that allowed her to go based on my religious beliefs. I do not support same-sex marriage. I'm not giving them nothing. Right? Now this was a small like town.
Okay.
So I mean, of course, like
Yeah.
either everybody feels like that or she kind of just ran that place.
Right. And it was new.
Yeah, it was pretty new. But also, let's so just take these cases, for example. Refused to bake a cake, right? You have a right in this country
Right.
to express your religious beliefs.
Right.
So if that's your religious belief, I mean, how do you, it's a tricky little, right? Because although they want you to, like treat people the same.
Right. Not discriminate against people.
Right. But how do you not discriminate and it's okay for you to express your religious belief? And this is within your religious beliefs.
Right. But I feel like if that's the case, then don't pick and choose what in your religious belief that you're going to stand strong on.
In that I felt the same exact way, right? This is the thing. You can't ask them to not do that.
It's crazy.
Right? So that's exactly what people are going to do.
But that's what they do now. And that's the problem with it.
Right. I mean, I understand and I agree. That's the problem. It's just unfortunate. And it's like one of those really like tricky like position to be in. Because nobody's wrong. Right? Based on the law, nobody's wrong. You have a right to express your religious beliefs.
Right.
But also you have a right to not be discriminated against.
Right.
So it's very tricky kind of situation. Right?
Yeah.
And like you said,
guess.
the only thing is some people pick and choose what part of their religion do they want to stand firm on.
Right.
And so that's the part that's just unfortunate. Like, hey.
Right. Because the amount of fornication that goes on in this country.
Right.
I can't imagine people like refusing, you know what I mean? A marriage license because you had sex before marriage.
Right. But I mean.
You can't get a marriage license because you had sex before marriage. So no, I'm not going to support this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like,
or you stole something before.
Right.
Yeah.
You lied.
You lied. So I mean I get it, you know, but that's definitely one of the things people use to their advantage. Right? And you'll see
Yeah.
religion being used to people's advantage like all the time.
Right.
So
whatever it benefits.
Right. So I mean, I just think it's one of those tricky kind of situations, but I definitely agree. Like, look, you at work, man. Just make the cake and shut up.
Right.
Damn.
I mean, so I can understand the cake if it is like a gay cake.
I don't know if a cake could be gay, but hey.
You know what I mean? Like it's a gay themed cake.
Like rainbow cake.
Not just rainbow, but you know,
like sexually explicit cake.
Right.
Okay.
I can understand that, right?
Yeah.
I can understand that for the web design. If it's like,
yeah, like could you make me a logo with two dicks wrestling?
Right.
Type of shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just a rainbow. So rainbow is a rainbow.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I can understand like those situations. I don't understand the marriage certificate because that's ridiculous. And if it's just a regular web design,
right,
I don't understand what the problem is. If it's not sexually explicit.
Listen, the only problem I have with this entire thing is I felt like people use religion to hate people.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Right.
Right? So I'm a Christian, you know, I follow in the footsteps of our Lord and Savior.
Right. But you're still a sinner.
Yeah. And a lot of times, people use religion to do more harm than good. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's disappointing. Yeah,
it's very disappointing. And that's something that has to be kind of worked out, right? And I'm glad that, like, you know, the Supreme Court is, like, reviewing it because I don't know which side they're going to take or, you know, what they're going to lean towards. But the fact that it needs to be reviewed because it's a real tricky kind of situation to be in.
Right.
Right. And I don't think as they put these like laws on the books that they even think about this type of confrontation that can happen. To where like really literally nobody's wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? But hey, I mean,
and I don't know. I mean, you see the signs that I could refuse services, right? You can refuse services to anybody.
Right.
You see the signs all over businesses, but I just wonder, like, is it really fair? Like, for any reason, you're just going to refuse services. Granted, you just take your business elsewhere, but...
Right. And that is like, hey, man, that's just what it is. I mean, me personally, I'm not sure I even want nobody making me a cake that don't like me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I
don't want anybody making me a cake that doesn't like me, but I don't want anybody to discriminate against me.
No, definitely.
More importantly.
Definitely, right?
Because it feels like white only pies.
That's definitely what it is, right? But at the same time, no, me personally, I would appreciate knowing, if you feel a way.
I don't like it.
Right? I mean, because even though it feels like white only pies, think about if the law makes them make you a pie. It'll be all kind of
nastiness.
Right. It'll be a motherfucking help pie.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like.
So I can kind of appreciate, like, knowing, hey, you don't fuck with me? Cool. Hey, listen, man, look, I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let me go and take my business somewhere else before you didn't put rat poison in my.
Something.
You know what I mean? So.
Make everybody sick.
So, yeah, when it come to, the you know what I'm saying, the web design or the cake, I understand that, like, it could be very painful to be discriminated against.
Yeah.
Right? I can definitely understand that. But at the same time, though, it's a part of me that appreciate, like, if you don't mess with me. Before I give you this money, before I support your business.
Right.
So so although it's unfortunate, man, I think me personally, I kind of appreciate knowing if you are discriminated against me.
Oh no, I don't like it.
Yeah. But I can get like I
can get how, like, I don't want the baker to make me a cake.
Right.
I can get that. But I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like you just got to do your job if this is what you're signing up for.
Right.
And if you decide to refuse the commission or whatever it is for the web design, like, I understand that too, but I think I would just take my business elsewhere to where I could be appreciated and actually valued as a customer.
Definitely.
But I still don't like the feeling of it.
Right. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. It could be definitely painful.
Let us know what you think about this.
Let us know.
Yeah. On Instagram and Twitter, we are ROAE_podcast. Check us out. Let us know what you think. Feedback is appreciated.
Yeah, please follow us. And as always, mental health is real and self-care is important. We are out of here.
Bye.